Hello, I'm Sean Siegel from Chicago, Illinois. Thank you for investing your time, to you and the executive committee for putting on this meeting, and for bringing together a diverse group of people in attendance under one roof. Out of all the companies that Berkshire Hathaway owns, there was one that you acquired, the Chicago-based company Portillo's hot dogs. How did you know that this would be a good fit for the overall company's portfolio?
Well, I'll have to ask Greg about that because I don't know anything about it. So maybe he bought it when I was looking the other way, but
I think I got to call a friend on this one.
We own a lot of companies, but I do like to think I know most of them. But it may be a subsidiary of a subsidiary in some way, but I really don't know a thing about it. I'm sorry to. Yeah. That may be a good thing. I do know something about hot dogs, though. So
right. and we do have a lot of companies in Chicago, Warren, through Marmon, and that's been a great opportunity where we've accumulated a variety of excellent companies under that portfolio. But as you noted, I don't believe Portillo's falls under that.
Yeah. No, I look at the financial statements of about perhaps 50 or 60 of our companies every month. But in the case of Marmon, for example, Marmon itself owns over 100 companies, and it was the creature of. It was created by Jay Pritzker and his brother Bob, and it was a remarkable company when we bought it. But it was highly diversified already, and then we've diversified it further. So it is something of a Berkshire within Berkshire, and we found that that's working very good as an arrangement. It was interesting. Jay Pritzker was a remarkable manager, and there's various branches of the Pritzker family. So it really goes back to A.N. Pritzker before Jay and so on. But in 1954. They changed the federal tax code very dramatically in the United States. It was quite a blow to me because I'd been at Columbia and I'd been reading a J.K. Lasser book about the tax code, and then they went and changed the whole damn thing. So but 54 was a big change. Those years come every now and then, like 1986, and you may see a big one of these days. And there was a company called Rockwood Chocolates in Brooklyn, and they made Rockwood chocolate bits, which we used to sell at the Buffett grocery store, and people made chocolate chip cookies out of them and everything. And then it turned out that cocoa, which lately has had a big run too, cocoa was 5 cents a pound in 1941 when LIFO was first allowed for insurance for tax purposes. And the Rockwood Chocolate Company went into on the LIFO message, so they owned like 30 million pounds or thereabouts of cocoa. And then cocoa took a run in 1955, and I had just moved to New York. And there was a provision in the new tax code that if you were in 2 or more companies and you did certain things and you've been in them for 5 years and you got out of one of them, that there would be no capital gains tax on LIFO inventory gains. And tax rates were around 48%, maybe 52%. And so there was this huge profit because the cocoa had gone up in price, but that made it terrible for them in selling Rockwood chocolate bits because the price at retail of the chocolate bits did not match what was going on at wholesale. Something almost identical has been happening in the chocolate business. Recently, Hershey Chocolate just came out and said they're going to have a bad quarter, and we're paying $4.50 a pound for chocolate from cocoa because things are going on in West Africa that make cocoa prices go up dramatically. In any event, Jay Pritzker bought control of Rockwood, the chocolate company. And like I say, I was 24 or 5 years old, and they called the meeting to split off one of the chocolate businesses in a way that would enable them to recognize the gain on these cocoa beans without paying roughly 50% federal taxes on the gain. So I went to the meeting, which was in Brooklyn, and nobody was there. This is in the turn every page category, except one guy. And I was 24 and he was 29, and it was Jay Pritzker. And nobody had showed up at the meeting, and it was kind of a crummy building they had, but they had a lot of cocoa there. And Jay just gave me a lecture, or a lesson, really, I should say, on the tax code. And I mean, I could have gone to graduate school for years and never learned as much as he did. And then later, we actually bought the company, that Rockwood company, after he did some other things, became the basis for Marmon. And Marmon, among other things, developed the car that won the first Indianapolis Speedway race. And it invented the rear view mirror, which I'm not sure is a great advantage in economics or anything, but the guy they used to have on the Indianapolis 500, they had two people in the car. One guy was to look back and see what the other people were doing, and the other guy was to drive the car. And our guy got sick, and so they invented a rear view mirror. So if you want to look at the kind of, what's going on in the laboratories of Berkshire Hathaway, and we've got people working on things like the rear view mirror.
Hey, Warren?
Yep.
I'm happy a friend did call. So that still works. Peter Eastwood, who runs one of our Berkshire subsidiaries and does a great job of running it, tracked down that Portillo's is owned by a private equity firm called Berkshire Partners. So that was the basis of the question, but it's not associated with Berkshire. So we got to the bottom of that one.
Yeah.
Thank you, Peter.